Hey, so I just wanted to do a quick video on like how I'm structuring this channel and what my long-term plans are because I just starting and I have no viewers or anything like that. So, I'm interviewing one of my old professors next week. Oh no, sorry, in January. I've already got one interviewer locked down um, with a lot of my professors, they went to all the big names with PhDs, and so they're very, very, very interesting to talk to, especially about their own field. So I think that is valuable to anyone, even people who aren't, like me, the professors I know, it's because they're into the stuff that I talk about, and they're the ones who taught me a lot of it. So it's easy for me to talk to one of my professors and say, hey, let me just familiarize myself at least with your most recent publication or upcoming and interview you about it while mostly, talking about the concepts and everything. And so it's kind of like that's going to be one of the formats. And so what I'm really doing is trying to just get a lot of videos that aren't perfectly well edited because if I edit, it's going to be like a lot slower because I'm on my own still. So right now what I want to do is my channel is sort of like, if you know the YouTuber Wendy Goon format, where it's me talking and then I'm going to put up stuff on the screen. So I'm going to have these videos accompanied with slideshows. Like I already have in my software, it's set up to have me in the bottom. And principally my goal is to figure out what is gaining traction and what isn't in terms of format. Because I have, I already have an in-depth view, like an introduction to Nietzschean mythology. I have videos recorded about like a more critical look at Nietzsche. I can make stuff on Kant, but it's all in the context of how like it's relevant to us. Like what can we still use? Like the categorical imperative is very important and it influences society right now. But then I also have stuff like the Kyle Rittenhouse interview analysis, where I also analyze like the Arbery case. And then I have a ton of videos about just American politics, right versus left, how, like just random things, the difference between Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, or for Republicans, like the difference between so and so and AOC, right? Because it's hard to understand how the other side has different values, and so they get divided over different things, right? It's like the Catholic Orthodox or the Christian Orthodox versus the Catholics. So, yeah, so that's another thing. American politics and also global politics, like refugee crises. I know a decent amount about tech. Like, I can code a basic, like, top-down video game, and I can code like, I can code data analysis stuff, and that's what I did. That's how I made money up until this point. Like, because I'm 29, and so it's like, yeah, like I did data analysis stuff, a lot of SQL, and just Excel sheets. SQL is SQL, the server query, or yeah, I think server query language or something. Or simple query language. I forget. Doesn't matter. I know how to use it. And I know what it does. Who cares about the acronym? That's how I feel. And it's more important, like I have my cryptocurrency video. So even though I don't know how, I've never studied how SHA-256, the hashing algorithm that Bitcoin uses, like I've looked at it and I understand how it works just in broad concept, just like quantum physics. You can learn, I think, because I'm going to be talking about, because I also I write science fiction, which is like my main thing. And then I realized that I can just kind of interview. I was like, wait, hold on. I know a diverse array of people, like secular or, urban elites, Amish, fundamentalist Christians. I know Muslims. I know a Zoroastrian, an actual Zoroastrian from that one sect that doesn't proselytize. Yeah, I know one. I could interview her, but I haven't seen her. She's a friend of a friend. And my friend was like, dude, I know you've heard talked about Zoroastrianism. I met one. And then I talked to her all about her faith, like just like over like the phone. I was like, dude. And it was really interesting. So I can just have that kind of stuff on this channel. And then like what else? A lot of mythology. I really, really love mythology, like because it's a lot like I'll just quote something that Nietzsche said. Like, what is the meaning of aesthetic ideals? It's the same thing of replacing Andrew Jackson with Harriet Tubman on the 20. What's the meaning of them? What does that say? And also, like, even just like who's going to win and how is it going to play out? So I could talk about that, and like what side I'm on. Personally, I think that we should only have symbols on our money, just like the backside. You know how the backside looks? I want it to look like that. And then you replace, you put Harriet Tubman, like I would want a statue of her in Congress, for example. But I don't like people on money only because it makes it like based on following rather than individualistic standing up for ideals, like E pluribus unum. So, end of the primer. I'm not editing as much as I will because I want to know what people like. Do you want more interviews? Do you want more religion stuff? Do you want more ancient religion stuff? Do you like modern day or history? Do you like the war stuff? Because I know a lot about war tactics, but I don't know that many like names and stuff. I don't know some, but I just really like the tactics. Like, okay, how did Napoleon win his battles? And then I don't really know the politics besides, like Waterloo and stuff like that. So you can know a lot about a lot of things if you don't get into the nitty gritty. So for example, like I know what CRISPR is, like the new gene editing tool, like CRISPR. I know what it is, what it does, and I know how it works on like a high school level. But I wouldn't talk about CRISPR in that case. I would interview one of the I know one of the dudes that I knew growing up, not even high school, but like elementary school. He became an immunologist and has a PhD. So I would instead just talk to him about it. But I know it's all about just knowing enough to ask the right questions. So basically, I'm gonna put all my videos into the general category because I have like the interviews from heaven, which I think is a really cool way to learn. But I want to just know what people like before I put all my time into releasing like one video every 3 days because I edit like a mofo. So, yeah. So basically you'll see the categories of my different videos and what the planned out series are. I'll post it up on my thing because I have a lot of different topics I want to explore. If you guys want philosophy, I'll give you philosophy. But, there's that one philosophy podcast that'll really... I feel like it's like, dude, you want philosophy. But I like mythology. Because I know that Nietzsche, the only way you immortalize yourself is by making a hero. Zarathustra, I'll never forget who Zarathustra is as a character. He's a hero. It's like Achilles. So it's like... Yeah. Oh, you just saw... I wanted to talk about my birds. So, yeah, you just saw them fly by. There are cages also right behind me, but these ones I didn't put them back in because I was busy. So usually I'm going to have my birds flying around in the background because I love my birds, and it really says a lot about enlightenment because birds are enlightened. Songbirds especially, they're enlightened. They are. They don't carry any weight on their shoulders, I'll tell you. So, they like to chill on the fan and the blinds and then fly all around. I have 3 canaries, so if it's too distracting, right, then that's one thing. But I think that I could also do, like when I have slideshows and things. But this is primarily, it's a podcast, but it's really a YouTube series where I export the audio rather than the other way around because I think visuals are important. Oh yeah, what am I talking about? Also stuff like red pill and how to have success with women or men, all that kind of stuff. And for those, I could just have my fiance with me. And we can talk about how the gender wars work, especially when you're younger. So yeah, all kinds of stuff. But what happens is right now there's like 20 different videos I could make, and I don't know what's I kind of don't know what people need in terms of what's missing on YouTube or what people want more of. So yeah, that's kind of how that's my long-term goal for the channel. And personally, I would prefer being somewhat similar to Daniel Green or Wendy Green, kind of like a mesh of the both. Daniel Green does literature reviews, and Wendy Green does a lot of psychology and, or no, not psychology, just like old stories and history, and then also a lot of mythology and what it means and how the author was. So I want to do book reviews. Oh, another huge one. I mean, I'll have it all up, but another huge one is news reviews, like of opinion articles, because I want to. It's good to learn how to like know when people are bullshitting. I can help. That's one. That's my main skill. Identifying a grifter. I'm good at that. I'm good at that, and it's something that people, like a lot of people get it and a lot of people don't. So it's something that I want to talk about. So yeah, check out the headlines. I'll probably just put it in the channel description, and then kind of just let me know in a comment or in an email what you want, like what strikes you, like, oh, work on this. And then eventually I'm going to have perfectly, like well edited videos. But here's the thing, guys. I write science fiction, and that's like my main thing is my novella, getting it out there. So I want to get to the point with YouTube where I can pay an editor to do the YouTube and the podcast with the intro music and stuff like that, and maybe slideshows. And the only reason why is because I want to write again. Like I'm only writing a little bit since I've started this, and because I love this. This is like the most exciting thing that's ever happened in my life. So because like I'm interviewing PhDs and Amish. It's like, geez. And so like I kind of just feel like I'm at least gonna get like a solid audience because I've been contacting smaller YouTubers. Even if I can get like 500 views an interview or per video, I'd be happy because I'm gonna try to never say the three words of solicitation, only because I really, really, really don't like the effect. It's not that I don't like YouTube and people like Google, but I do not like the effect that YouTube is having on the internet, especially in terms of what you can talk about. Especially. So, if YouTube boots me, I go to Nebula. I never want to give them much help besides just using their platform because it's the best one. But I want to also put my videos up on Nebula, and then I want to make one eventually, and I'll tell you, I'll eventually go into my plans for beating YouTube, basically just making YouTube obsolete. So, and YouTube will win to that, but I want at least a semi-society of like tech bros who can, and tech bros can be men or women, but who can kind of like a Nebula, where it's a small community, but it's at least an offshoot where people who don't like YouTube, which is who cares, like there's not many of us, can have a place to go. And so, YouTube will be obsolete for a very limited amount of people. So that's one of my other visions, is to create a protocol that allows for kind of open source YouTube, if you will, with distribution, without echo chamber algorithms either, unless you want them. So yeah, that's what to expect from this channel and podcast. And then I'm also going to be releasing sci-fi that carries all my themes, and it's about the struggle of existential, like really what my sci-fi it's called the Gerbila universe. I have it up I'm working on the website for it. I have it up for the wiki, but it's basically This guy decides that he wants to have the human genome, a living human, like the human race, survive as close to heat death as possible. And there's a ton of fighting, action, everything, but also a ton of. They have to figure out how to go on for millions of years without turning themselves into AIs, which is what most people do. They get much more powerful and less distraught silicone brains. So the core theme it allows me to explore with a vast universe. I cover the Milky Way, but there's no faster than light. There's no anything that's not scientific. And, I'm going to send during my editing phase, a physicist will have to sign off and say this isn't wrong. I'm trying to make something that's similar. So yeah, anyway, I bring it up because that's what I want to spend most of my time doing after this channel gets just a little bit off the ground, A couple hundred views every video, I figure as long as my videos are good, it'll grow over time then, and I don't really want to spend that much time or money looking for fans just because I kind of have a longer term outlook, and I also don't care about the income. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I will need the income eventually, right? Like, I plan this where, okay, I'm going to have like a year or two to get this off the ground with my savings, but, I don't know if I'm ever going to have to, because I don't need that much to live, because, I spend all this money on this cool tech stuff, but that's it. But I don't know if I'm going to have to do the 3 words of, the 3 words of solicitation, only because I don't have to yet, but I might eventually. But I want my novels to be my main source of income, not YouTube and not my podcast. I want my podcast to be super chill. Like, don't watch any ads. There's none of this. There's none of that, because the guy who makes it doesn't really care that much about the money side, because he's got his own side project. But if my side project doesn't take off, then yeah. But I still wouldn't use this as my main income source. I would just sell sponsorships. I would try to sell sponsorships. And I kind of want my channel to spread by word of mouth without me having to remind, because everyone forgets. But it's like, yeah, but if my videos are good, you'll come back, is the thing. So what I'm trying to explain is I don't want this channel to get too big too quickly. I want an audience that likes my stuff and can give me feedback on what direction to go into. And then once I'm confident that it's worth enough to have someone be an editor for me, I can run both. I can write, and then I can film, and instead of editing, I write. So anyway, I went off on a tangent, but I would do I would just do data analysis work if I needed extra cash as a consultant. So, because I like doing that stuff. It's like I do it for like a couple hours, and I've got enough to make it like 3 days or something. Oh, someone's at the door. So yeah, I'll just end the video here then. Yeah, you'll see my birds and stuff. It's really cool. So yeah, thanks.